As much as we love this music and the musicians, we rarely think about the physicality involved in playing an instrument. Just think something like a minor injury or even an illness like arthritis can sideline somebody's career. And I understand all that's involved in looking at the whole person, because my mom was a professional opera singer, so she had to keep her voice together. I mean, it's interesting being a musician's kid, of course. The wonderful thing is the University of Colorado at Boulder, at their College of Music, they have a musician's wellness program. And the goal is to support the whole musician with a holistic approach that emphasizes prevention and balance and long-term well-being, physical therapy, mental health services, even nutrition services. That is amazing, with a dietitian, and also medical evaluations. Those are some of the services provided, and that is, to me at least, that's rare in the music program. Now you, Dr. Emily G., you're the director of the Musicians Wellness Program. You're also a doctor of physical therapy and a board-certified orthopedic clinical specialist. You're also a professional cellist, and you've experienced some playing-related injuries. So I can't think of anybody better to what's the word I'm looking for? To head this program. I know you see you laughing. To head this program, and somebody like you, and it's not often that college music schools have such a supportive program for students. It's like, you have to learn theory and this, but it's never about the whole human being. Do you have any idea when it originated? Because I just kind of but I was just doing some research, and it was like, wow, they have this incredible program here? That's awesome. So how did it originate?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here and be speaking with you today. So the program at CU Boulder's College of Music, the Musicians Wellness Program, has been around for over 20 years, actually.
Wow.
So this is actually my first year in this role. I just started in the fall.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was originally founded by Jim Brody. So he was a professor of oboe at the College of Music and has extensive training and expertise in the Alexander technique. And so he started seeing a real need with students coming to him asking for his advice and expertise in Alexander technique and postural kinds of issues that were going on and pain and things like that. So he kind of went ahead and went on a mission to start this Musicians Wellness Program. It started just, I think, originally as like offering an Alexander technique class to students, but then he started working individually with students as well. And there was really this growing need for more wellness support for the students there. So he was able to get it created as a program of excellence in the college, which kind of establishes it as something that the college values and thinks is important. And so that has, been going on for a little over 20 years now.
Wonderful.
As it stands. And we also have an embedded psychotherapist, Matt Tomatz, who works with our students as well. So he is 50% time for like our counseling center for like the whole university, and then 50% time specifically for our students at the College of Music.
That is a beautiful thing. Can you explain to our listeners the Alexander technique? I've heard of it, but can you just give us like a little capsule of what that is?
Yeah, and again, that is definitely not my area of expertise, but I'll tell you a little bit about it. So it is a somatic methodology. So kind of working with postural awareness for performing artists, used a lot with actors and singers and instrumentalists as well. Really tapping into how is our body positioned when we're playing? How can we cultivate body awareness as we play to have better injury prevention, and also be grounded and be in our bodies more when we're performing, because we know that also makes the difference with our performance.
Yeah, I don't think people really understand, as I said earlier, the physicality of playing an instrument. For example, I had a friend I have a friend who's a saxophone player, and just once he said, "Oh, can you carry my case for me?" You should have seen my arm just drop. I mean, I'm like, this is really heavy. heavy and it's a tenor. Can you imagine playing the baritone and then having, the strap on your neck and standing all night? There's some musicians, not only do they have problems with their posture, their neck, like tension in their neck, but even with their feet, having to stand for hours. People don't think about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, plenty of musicians, right, have to play in maybe awkward or uncomfortable positions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some musicians come and maybe they're expecting a chair that is maybe a better height than it is. And then they end up
Mm-hmm.
playing for like a 3 hour set or something, right? In a chair that is not ideal, or a crammed space, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, standing for hours. We think of like our marching band musicians as well, who are then
Oh,
doing all kinds of things with their body,
yeah.
maybe in severe heat as well outside or cold or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is. So it does take a toll, both physically and mentally, emotionally, all of that. Yeah.
What inspired you to become a physical therapist?
Yeah, that really kind of goes back to my time in music, actually. So, yeah, I was studying cello performance at DePaul University in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago at their
Oh,
School of
yeah.
Music. And so years and years ago, I started having some playing injuries of my own. So I had some left shoulder pain, and I started
Wow.
having some nerve injuries in my left hand as
Oh,
well.
no.
It took a while for people to figure out what was going on. I was having some circulation issues in my left hand too. So eventually I was diagnosed with what's called thoracic outlet syndrome.
Mm.
And that is a nerve entrapment disorder of the brachial plexus. So that's a nerve complex that sits kind of under our collarbone and under our first rib. And for me as a cellist, I was doing a lot of things kind of up on the fingerboard
Mm-hmm.
and kind of giving a lot of compression to that area, probably not taking as many breaks as I should have been as well, and maybe
Yeah.
not caring for my body in the way that I should have been. And so it led to some motor control issues in my left hand, as well as some loss of circulation
Oh,
in my
no.
left hand as well. Made it really difficult to play.
Oh, no.
So I ended up going through a lot of physical therapy myself. Saw a lot of other medical and healthcare providers during that time as well. And it took a really long time to kind of be able to get my left arm and left hand functioning properly again. And so I had to take kind of a medical leave of absence
Mm-hmm.
from my time at music school, um, and was able to come back to the program for a period of time. But I think when I reflect on it now, many things about the environment of the program, the intensity of it, the amount of time that I was expected to play,
Mm-hmm.
that hadn't really changed. So even though I had some tools, I had some exercises and stretches to help my body heal, I was then kind of put back into the same high intensity environment and kind of re-injured myself again. And
Oh,
so the
no.
second time that it happened, it became more of a focal dystonia in my left hand. So I was
Mm-hmm.
really losing motor control, and it just was impossible to continue playing my instrument for a long time.
Oh, no.
So that really set me on this path of seeing, wow, okay, I'm in a lot of physical therapy myself. I'm seeing a lot of healthcare providers, but not a lot of them know what we do with our bodies as professional musicians or as string players or whatever
Mm-hmm.
we're doing. And so I felt like I was providing some education to them as well about what I needed to do in order to get back to my program, or in order to be doing music as a career,
Mm-hmm.
and saw kind of a gap there in that knowledge. And so I wanted to become a healthcare provider who really understood the unique occupational health disorders and challenges that musicians face, and that's really driven me through my PT career.
That is really a beautiful thing. Because as I said earlier, you just never hear about colleges that offer this kind of service for musicians. In addition to like dietitian information, diet information, physical therapy, mental health programs, describe some of the events that you have planned for this year. Because I looked at what you had last year, and they were like really great events, and wow. I mean, and aren't you're also available kind of like on a drop-in schedule, correct? Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. So in my role as the director of the wellness program, I teach classes called Wellness for Musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So that is offered to undergrad and graduate students. It's like a 1 credit class, but really designed to give students a holistic perspective of wellness and give them a lot of different tools that they can use for their wellness and longevity as students, but also as musicians and throughout their careers. So I've kind of redesigned this course. It takes them through some basics of functional anatomy and physiology. We talk about mindfulness and some mental health content that our embedded psychotherapist, Matt, brings in. We go through the importance of sleep and functional nutrition and injury prevention, right? And pain, like what is pain? How is our brain and our body working together in these ways? And what is our nervous system trying to tell us when we're feeling kind of sensations or symptoms of stress or performance anxiety, those kinds of things. So we really try to be holistic, give them a lot of different types of tools. And then the final project of that class is that they get to make their own personal wellness and longevity plan.
Oh, wow, that's
choosing,
great.
yeah, so choosing the tools that kind of they feel like worked the best for them, how they're going to fit it into their daily schedule, and how that's going to help, send them off into their careers and help them be sustainable as music students. So that's kind of the course itself. Yeah, but that's been a lot of fun to kind of teach. The first crew in the fall that I taught, I think had a really great time with it, and I have two other sections of it right now in the spring. And then we do what's called open wellness hours. So those are twice a week. That is the drop-in time where students can come in either for like consultations with myself, where maybe they are having pain. And as a doctor of physical therapy, I can do some evaluation with them, try and figure out, great, is it something, that we can maybe resolve here? I can give you a few home exercises to work on, or maybe we need to refer you out to a consult to our student health service and get something else looked at. So it's a great way for them to have some quick access to a healthcare provider, which I think is really important. Yeah, and then we have some other wellness events. So I'll bring in some speakers from other places. We did have our lead dietitian come in from Ornberg Student Health Service last semester, which was an awesome event. She also comes in and lectures for our class as well. Again, I think that nutrition and fuel piece is so often missed, right? For so many of our students, for so many musicians and people as well. It's really important, I think, to get some of that specialized information from a dietitian.
That is. Just looking at the entire musician, people really don't think about that. They think, you just get up and you play, and that's that, But when I read about this program, it just completely blew me away. I don't know if I mentioned this. You're also a yoga instructor?
I am,
Okay.
yes. Yeah. So I have been able to bring in some of that as well. And actually, our embedded psychotherapist, Matt Tomatz, is also a yoga instructor too. So together, we've kind of been able to embed a little bit of some yoga content, yoga events for students to just kind of get introduced to some different tools that they might find helpful for both their physical and mental well-being. Yoga is not for everyone. Other things aren't for everyone either. So I think the more tools and resources we can introduce students to, then they can, decide which ones do they really like and enjoy and are going to be, sustainable for them in the future. But yes, we have done a few yoga for musicians events. I've been partnering with our College of Music student government too, to really try and make sure we're doing things that the students want and that they're going to be excited about, and figuring out how we can collaborate in that way has been really important for me as I've come into this position too.
Yeah. Who are some of the people who are on staff? I think you already mentioned, I think the psychiatrists or psychologists.
So our embedded psychotherapist, Matt Tomatz, he's really kind of my partner in crime. It's pretty much the two of us are the wellness team for the College of Music. So again, he's fabulous. He's been there for over 10 years. I want to say maybe 15 years or so in that role. And I think he's seen his role really evolve and develop as well, as students have figured out oh, this is an amazing resource that's here for me. So he also does drop-in hours and consults with students in the College of Music. And then he also teaches he sort of holds 3 group therapy sessions a week called Developing the Whole Musician. And students have to commit to being a part of that group for the whole semester. Some of them I hear stay on maybe throughout their entire time that they're at the College of Music because they find that really, really helpful. But yeah, it's really a place to talk about, yes, maybe some performance anxiety things, maybe some stress things, but also just everything else that comes up as you are a student and as you're a musician and maybe as you're looking into careers in music. And that can all be just bring up a lot of things for all of us. So it's really a space to discuss that with other people going through similar things. And I think that's such a special environment.
You mentioned someone very near and dear to us here at KUVO, Annie Booth. How is she involved with the program?
Yeah, so Annie Booth and I were in kind of the same new faculty cohort. We both started on faculty this fall,
Hmm.
and she has been really involved in obviously in the jazz school and jazz department. And she brought me in last semester to the jazz studio performance class to do a whole session on wellness for musicians with their whole jazz program. So that was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to collaborate with them more. I
Hmm.
think. On the College of Music campus. I don't know if have you been there
Not
recently?
yet.
Like, physically? Okay, so the jazz school is actually in kind of a separate building from some of the other parts of the College of Music
Hmm.
and from where like my wellness space is.
Hmm.
And it took me a while to realize that as someone that was new to the space. And I was like, where are they? Like, where I can't find them. And so really, I'm hoping to actually like go over there to physically to that building to make sure that we're like promoting health and wellness and injury prevention kinds of things in that space as well. And just making sure that students know that that's available to them too. Because there can be kind of yeah, almost like a physical barrier, I think, to it if it's not
Hmm.
there in front of you. So I think it was really great that Annie and others brought me in to that space to like be with all of them. We got some folks then coming into the drop-in hours after that because they'd had that experience with me there. But no, I'm really excited to collaborate with them more for sure.
What
Yeah.
are some of the ways that people can learn about the program, in addition to your website? Because again, I was just blown away when I found this program. It's really unheard of. Do you know any other music schools that would offer something like this?
Yeah, so there are a growing number
Hmm.
that do have a wellness component, and I think the National Association for Schools of Music does have like this small kind of requirement now, but it's sort of a gray area in terms of like what can count for that requirement. So I think some schools are really prioritizing it
Hmm.
and making a difference with it and saying, hey, we are prioritizing our students' wellness and we're putting that first. And so we're gonna hire a director of musicians wellness like what CU did. But really, my position is pretty unique in that many other schools who have maybe a director of wellness, that person is also in another role as a piano professor or as a conducting professor or some other role in the College of Music. And then on top of that, they're wearing this hat of wellness coordinator or wellness director. And so it is very unique that CU Boulder's College of Music said, we're actually going to create a full-time tenure track position for our director of musicians wellness.
That's
Uh,
wonderful.
yeah, and I believe I think, one of the only programs in the country that has like a healthcare provider, a doctor of physical therapy in
Wow.
that role, which, again, I think just opens up a lot more resources and a lot of opportunities for students as well.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. What are some other some of the ways that you basically let people know that you exist, so to speak?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I would say, just since starting in the fall, right, I've been, we're trying to do some website updates. So I'm really glad that you actually found the website
Hmm.
recently because some of that stuff is, yeah, a little bit more new. We're trying to kind of share like a slightly new mission, sort of broadening the scope maybe of the wellness program. Going into the future, I'm taking on some research projects as well, trying to figure
Okay.
out, yeah, what is our wellness program actually doing? How is it serving our students? And also, how can we make it better, right? And make it more effective and what we're seeing and try to track some of those things now. So that'll be really important. I've been on a couple of podcasts, which has been really fun for me. But I think we're trying to figure out more ways of sharing what we're doing. But yeah, I think definitely this first year for me is kind of, getting a handle on where are we? What do people want to see from this program? What ways maybe can we interact and collaborate with the wider community in Boulder and
Hmm.
surrounding areas, but also kind of in the university. So I'm trying to make some, relationships and collaborations, yes, with the Student Health Service, but
Hmm.
also our School of Audiology and Hearing Sciences, right? And doing some hearing conservation for
Hmm.
the musicians at the College of Music. And yeah, trying to see who wants to work together. So it's been really fun. Really fun. I've had a lot of different people reach out to say, hey, we'd like to be involved. So that's great too.
That's a beautiful thing. Are you teaching any music courses at all?
No,
Okay.
no. And I would say, unfortunately, my music career, my musical studies ended in like my junior, senior year of
Oh,
music school.
I'm so sorry.
So it was, yeah, I mean, it was devastating at the time
I
for sure,
imagine.
but
Yeah.
it opened up these new possibilities for me. So I am definitely there in this wellness capacity. But again, great to have that background in music and to have been in the trenches and know where the students are at with how intense the program can be, right? Both physically and mentally challenging. Yeah.
I just love the idea of this program. It's something that's so needed because people, again, they just don't think about the physicality of actually playing an instrument. And, you're doing things like, of course, looking at the whole person rather than, teaching theory or teaching this, that, and the other. And then, leaving the rest is like you're on your own, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I think it's been a lot of fun, and I'm hoping this will happen more, but different professors are bringing me in to do like a guest lecture for their students in different topics. And my hope really is that I'm approaching this position from sort of a health promotion standpoint of great, the more health and wellness content that we can embed into the curriculum as a whole through the College of Music, right? It can't be just an isolated thing that I'm doing over here down the hall in the wellness program. It really has to be a commitment that we are all making to say, this is a priority. We want our students to know this information. And so the more that we can, build it into a lot of different courses, actually, that aren't just wellness courses, right? But they're seeing it then from, our saxophone professor, Dr. Mertens, right, is wonderful about that too, like bringing that into his courses. The woodwind pedagogy course brought me in to do a lecture on functional anatomy of breath last semester because we talk a lot about breath, but do people actually know how is our body breathing, right? What's happening there? And if we have that knowledge, then maybe actually it improves, right, our technique or our performance because we know what's going on in the body. So the more ways I think that this can happen, I'm excited to see it. Yeah.
And we're excited to have you. I mean, you have just so much enthusiasm and just such a positive, beautiful spirit. And again, you understand what it is to be a musician and what it is to have injuries. And like you said, even though you had to leave school, this opened up an opportunity, a beautiful opportunity. And we're happy to have you. And I wish you the best. This is just your second semester, right?
It is. So feeling very new, but really excited and optimistic for our future, for sure. Yeah.
And we're excited for you. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you so much for having me, Kim.